So that is House Speaker Mike Johnson shutting Jake Tapper down with cold hard facts.
Is there a compromise on border security that's being negotiated right now that you would allow to be voted on, even if a majority of House Republicans are not behind it? Something that would improve the situation at the border, even if not to the point that you want it to be improved?
Jake, the reason that we've insisted on the provisions of H.R. 2, which is the bill that we passed 7 months ago that's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk collecting dust, the reason we've insisted upon that is because each of those provisions work together to secure the border. You can't, for example, just reform the asylum program and leave the broken parole process unrepaired. Then you would have a loophole that would do absolutely nothing. You can't just reinstate remain in Mexico. Even just that action would stem the flow, estimated about 70%. But you have to also end catch and release. All these things work together, and so you can't just pick and choose from them from a menu and expect that you're going to solve the problem. I'll quote to you one of the sheriffs of Terrell County down here, a border county, who has to deal with this crisis every day. He had lunch with us today, and he told us, he said before he became the sheriff, he worked for the U.S. Border Patrol for 26 years. He said he had worked through 4 administrations who were doing great work, but it took less than 6 months for the Biden administration, in his words, to unwind 100 years of progress that the U.S. Border Patrol had accomplished. 6 months. These are policy choices that got us in this situation, and what we're demanding is that the policies change for the good of every single American citizen.
But I guess my question is if you don't get H.R. 2, that's it? You're not willing to, let's say there was, I mean, I've seen the White House and the Democrats in the Senate go in your direction on this issue more than I've ever seen Democrats go in your direction. And I've been in this town for a little longer than you. I've seen President Bush try to do this. I've seen President Obama try to do this. And it always comes down to the House Republicans and what they're willing to accept. You would turn down a compromise that was not 100% of H.R. 2?
Jake, I'm not going to answer hypotheticals because they've not sent us any suggestion yet. There's no draft bill, but I would tell you, I don't care if they call it H.R. 2. I do care about the provisions that will seal the border. I don't think now's the time to do comprehensive immigration reform because, to your point, it's very complicated. It's very complex to do. But we can seal the border. We could do it overnight.
Look, the situation at the border is untenable. The situation at the border is completely out of control. And by the way, the situation at the border was completely caused by the Democrats when they took power. Okay, let's break this down. One of Biden's, as a matter of fact, one of the first things that the Biden administration did when they went in is they pretty much undid every single thing that the Trump administration was doing to secure that southern border, remain in Mexico, all of the other stuff. These things were actually dropping the amount of crossings at the border. These things were keeping illegal immigrants from crossing over illegally, all of that stuff. When the Democrats got in, when the Biden administration got in, they wiped all of that stuff away. And so now we're left with what we have at that southern border right now. And I think that what Jake Tapper is doing in this clip, I think is a fallacy. I think that what he's trying to say is, oh my God, well, the Democrats are trying to work with you. Why don't you want to work with them? And it's almost kind of like leaning into these talking points that Democrats have when it comes to the Republicans on the border. These people think that you're stupid enough to believe that it is the Republicans' fault that there is a crisis on the border. And for me, as somebody that watches this stuff and is critical of both sides of the aisle, by the way, it drives me absolutely insane that it seems like all these people can do is political theater, and neither of these parties can get this stuff done. I hate the fact that the Biden administration pretty much destroyed everything that Trump was doing on that border.